Dad, the radio's cutting out. The boat's capsizing. Then silence. Captain James Sullivan's phone rang at 2:15 a.m., an automatic emergency signal from his son Tom's boat. Mayday, coordinates 41 degrees north, 66 degrees west, Atlantic Ocean, James answered. Coast Guard Command Center. Mr. Sullivan, your son's fishing boat Mary Rose sent an emergency signal in the Atlantic. Radio went silent. Hurricane Allen is coming. Winds 80 miles per hour. Waves 40 feet. James's heart stopped. He was 66 years old, a retired Coast Guard commander, 40 years serving in the ocean's most dangerous storms. But now he was just a retired man running a small fishing boat in Rhode Island. When does the rescue operation start? Silence. Mr. Sullivan, Hurricane Allen is too dangerous. No vessel can go out. We must wait until the storm passes. 36 hours. 36 hours. Tom's boat was small. It couldn't survive 36 hours in a hurricane. I'm going. Mr. Sullivan, you're 66 years old. You're retired. The hurricane. I've done rescues in hurricanes for 40 years. He's my son. I'll find him. Captain James Sullivan, 66, ran a small fishing boat operation in Newport, Rhode Island. Sullivan's fishing tours, simple tours for tourists, equipment rental for local fishermen, a modest business, a quiet life. Harbor neighbors knew him. Good man, James, quiet, kind, drinks coffee every morning, looks after the boats. No one knew. This man was a U.S. Coast Guard commander for 40 years. He saved hundreds of lives in the Atlantic's most dangerous storms. He went into Category 5 hurricanes. He pulled people from sinking ships. He faced death hundreds of times. But 6 years ago, at age 60, the Coast Guard told him, "Commander Sullivan, mandatory retirement age. We're grateful for your service." James didn't argue. He was tired. He wanted to spend more time with his son Tom. Tom Sullivan, 34, had inherited his father's love of the sea, but he didn't join the Coast Guard. He became a commercial fisherman. His own small boat, Mary Rose. Lobster traps. Hard work, but Tom loved it. "Dad, you saved people. I make a living from the sea," Tom would say. James was proud. His son earned an honest living. Every Sunday evening, Tom would come to his father's house. They'd eat dinner together. James would cook fish. Tom would tell sea stories. "Big trip tomorrow, Dad," Tom said last Saturday. "Going 50 miles out, big lobster ground, 3 days." James frowned. "Weather report good?" "Yes, Dad, clear, don't worry." But that night, James couldn't sleep. 40 years at sea. There was a feeling. The sea might look calm, but the Atlantic is never predictable. Monday, 2:15 a.m. James's phone rang. Automatic emergency signal. Mayday, Mary Rose. Coordinates, 41 degrees north, 66 degrees west. James jumped up immediately. Answered the phone. Coast Guard Commander Sandra Martinez. "Mr. Sullivan, your son's boat sent an emergency signal. 50 miles out. Radio went silent. Last contact. Boat capsizing. Engine dead. Massive waves." James's world spun. "When does rescue start?" "Mr. Sullivan, Hurricane Allen is coming. Unexpected. Developing fast. Winds 80 miles per hour. Waves 40 feet. No Coast Guard vessel can go out. Too dangerous." "When can you go?" "After the hurricane passes. Estimated 36 hours. 36 hours. Tom's boat was small, 35 feet. It couldn't survive 36 hours in a hurricane. "I'm going." "What?" "Mr. Sullivan, I'm going. I'll find my son." "You're 66 years old. You're retired. The hurricane—" "Commander Sullivan, 40 years Coast Guard, over 200 rescue operations, 15 hurricanes. He's my son. I'll find him." James hung up and ran to the harbor. 2:45 a.m. The hurricane hadn't arrived yet, but the wind was picking up. Behind the hangar, something everyone had forgotten. USCG Sea Defender, 47-foot motor lifeboat. James had bought this from a Coast Guard auction 8 years ago. Old retired rescue boat, maintained. He checked the engine every year, just in case. Defender was a heavy boat, 18,000 pounds, 2 diesel engines, design purpose, hurricane rescue. Even if capsized, it self-rights, can handle 30-foot waves. James opened the cover, checked systems, engines, running fuel, full GPS, active emergency equipment, ready life jackets, available. "James," he turned. His neighbor Eddie, 55, another fisherman. "James, what are you doing? Hurricane's coming." "Tom's lost. 50 miles out. I'm going." "Are you crazy? 80 miles per hour winds. No one can go out." James looked at Eddie. Eddie, I was a Coast Guard commander for 40 years. Tom is my son. I'm going. 3:30 a.m. James was lowering Defender into the water. A Coast Guard vehicle arrived. Commander Sandra Martinez and young Petty Officer Jake Reynolds, 28. "Mr. Sullivan, stop!" Sandra shouted. James started the engine. Sandra ran to the dock. "Mr. Sullivan, it's prohibited. Going to sea in a hurricane is suicide." "Tom's out there. I can't wait 36 hours, Jake intervened. "You're 66 years old. This is for young operators." James looked at Jake, cold, determined. "Young operator. How many years in the Coast Guard?" 5 years. "I served 40 years. I was going into hurricanes before you were born. He's my son. You can't stop me." Sandra intervened. "James, Commander Sullivan, please. This isn't an official operation. You have no authority. If I die, it's my choice. But if my son dies and I did nothing, I can't live with that." James gave it gas. Defender left the harbor. Sandra and Jake watched helplessly. Jake, "Commander, we should stop him." Sandra watched James's departing boat. "No, that's Commander Sullivan. If anyone can find Tom Sullivan, he can." Sandra opened her computer, pulled up James Sullivan's file. Commander James Sullivan, U.S. Coast Guard, 40 years active duty, 217 rescue operations, 15 hurricane operations, Coast Guard medal recipient. Jake read the file. His eyes widened. He's the legendary Commander Sullivan?" Sandra nodded. "Yes. And now he's going to save his own son." 4 a.m., 10 miles from harbor. Waves grew, 10 feet, then 15 feet. Wind howled. Defender cut through the waves. Heavy boat, powerful engines. James was at the controls. 40 years of muscle memory. GPS showing Tom's last coordinates, 41 degrees north, 66 degrees west, 40 miles away. Radio crackled. Sandra's voice. "Sullivan, turn back. Hurricane's accelerating. Winds up to 90 miles per hour." "I'm not turning back." "James, please." James turned off the radio. 5 a.m., 20 miles out. Waves 25 feet. The boat was rising and falling, each wave washing over the deck. James was soaked, cold, but he didn't care. Only one thing in his mind: Tom, 8-year-old Tom, boarding his father's Coast Guard ship for the first time. "Dad, aren't you scared of the sea?" "No, son, because I understand it. I love it. And if I'm careful, it protects me. When I grow up, I want to be like you." James wiped his eyes. Rain or tears, he didn't know. 6 a.m., 30 miles out. Hurricane fully arrived. Waves 35 to 40 feet. Giant walls of water. Defender climbing, falling, climbing, falling. James at the helm. Arms burning. 66 years old. His body wasn't what it used to be, but he had experience. He read every wave. Knew when to gun it, when to slow down. 40 years in storms. This was instinct. Engine went underwater. Almost choked. James cut the throttle. Boat leveled. Engine restarted. Defender didn't capsize, because that's what it was designed for, because James was in control. 7 a.m., 40 miles out. GPS, target 5 miles. Tom's last coordinates were close. James grabbed binoculars, scanned the waves. Nothing. Just giant waves, gray ocean, foaming water. Then something on the water, orange, a life jacket. James hit the gas. Defender crested the waves, got closer. Tom's boat, Mary, rose but capsized. Upside down, only the bottom of the boat visible. James's heart stopped. "Tom!" he shouted. No answer, just wind and wave sounds. James carefully brought Defender closer, circled the capsized boat. Then he saw, clinging to the cabin, above water, trying to breathe, Tom. He was alive. James brought Defender alongside Mary Rose, in the hurricane, in 40-foot waves, 20 feet between the two boats, an impossible maneuver. But James did rescues like this for 40 years. Engine control, full throttle, brake, starboard, port, every move calculated. Defender pulled alongside the capsized boat. "Tom!" James shouted. "Throwing rope! Grab it!" He threw the rescue line. Tom tried to grab with weak hands, wet, cold, exhausted. The rope slipped. "Again!" James threw a second line. This time Tom caught it. "Pull yourself! Come!" Tom started climbing, but he was weak, hypothermic. 12 hours in cold water. A wave came. Mary Rose moved. Tom almost fell. James grabbed the rope, pulled. 66 years old, arms aching, but it was his son. Tom fell onto Defender's deck. James hugged him. Tom, I've got you, I found you." Tom was shivering, couldn't speak. but he was alive. James carried him to the cabin, wrapped him in blankets, gave him hot drink. "Dad, how?" Tom's voice was weak. "Shh, don't talk. Warm up. I'm taking you home." James turned Defender back. Tom in the cabin under blankets. The hurricane was still going, but James knew it was hard going in. It'll be hard coming back. But his son was safe. That was enough. 9 a.m., 30 miles to harbor, waves still 30 feet. But James was exhausted. 66 years old, 5 hours in the hurricane, hands trembling, back aching, eyes blurry, but he didn't quit. Tom shouted from cabin, "Dad, rest, I can manage." "No, you warm up, I've got this." Father, protecting his son, until his last strength. 11 a.m., 10 miles to harbor. Hurricane weakened, waves dropped to 20 feet, wind 60 miles per hour. James turned on radio. "Coast Guard, this is Defender. James Sullivan. Found my son Tom, alive, returning to harbor." Sandra's voice. "James, thank God, ambulance ready, waiting at harbor." 12:30 p.m. Newport Harbor. Defender entered harbor. Coast Guard boats, ambulance, fire department, media, everyone waiting. Commander Sandra, Jake, all harbor people. James docked Defender at the pier. Tom stepped out, exhausted, but walking. Medics ran, examined Tom. "Hypothermia, mild, he'll be fine." James stepped off the boat, stumbled. 7 hours in the hurricane, 66 years old. Eddie ran, caught James. "You crazy bastard, but you're incredible." Sandra approached, saluted. "Commander Sullivan, officially thank you. You did an impossible rescue." Jake approached, eyes wet. "Commander, I told you you're old. I'm sorry. You're a hero." James shook his head. "I'm not old. I'm just experienced. And he's my son." Next day, news was everywhere. 66-year-old retired commander went into hurricane to save his son. He wasn't a fisherman. He was a Coast Guard legend. James Sullivan, 40 years, 217 rescues, still going. Harbor neighbors were shocked. James was a Coast Guard commander for 40 years, 217 rescue operations, and he never said anything. Eddie looked at James. "Man, why didn't you ever say?" James shrugged. "The past is the past. I just wanted to live peacefully. But now everyone knows. Doesn't matter. What matters? Tom is safe." 1 week later, Sunday evening, James and Tom were having dinner at James's house. Tom looked at his father. "Dad, you saved me from the hurricane. At 66 years old, everyone said it was impossible." James smiled. "Tom, the sea doesn't recognize age, it only demands respect. I gave the sea respect. It gave me back my son." "Would you go into a hurricane again?" James looked out the window at the ocean. "I hope I won't need to. But I'm ready. Because experience doesn't disappear. Age is just a number." Tom hugged his father. "I love you, Dad. You saved my life." "I love you too, son. You're my everything." Ocean waves hit the shore. James smiled. He was 66 years old, retired. Everyone said old. But he went into a hurricane and saved his son. Because age is just a number. Experience is forever. And a father never gives up. This story shows a father's love, the power of experience, and that age is just a number. 66-year-old retired Commander James Sullivan did what everyone said was impossible because he said, "He's my son." If you like this story, like, subscribe, and comment. Question: what would you do for your family? Share in the comments.